Hello and welcome to Checkpoint on Campus. I am your host, Jacob Brothers, and joined with me, as always, is the wonderful Erica Sidora. Erica, how do you do today?
Pretty good. How are you doing today, Jacob?
I am doing great because I finally have Mario Kart tracks in a Mario Kart game for the first time since 2016. But that's neither here nor there. We are here to talk about your Checkpoint on Campus. This week in the queue, we're going to be talking about a CRL Playoffs Preview with Ruben. We're going to be hitting on the HV GamerCon recap. We're going to hit you with your review, and we'll be wrapping up with actual Proving Grounds with Erica, all coming up in this week of On Campus. Don't go anywhere. Hello, friends. Welcome back to Checkpoint on Campus. Jacob Brothers is still here. Erica Sidora is still there. And we are joined by a very special friend. It's been too long, actually. We are joined by Ruben Osterling. Ruben, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. So you are here to talk about the CRL Playoffs Preview. So what do we need to know?
While the open qualifiers and league play just ended actually last week, but the good thing for the playoffs is even though they have a small amount of teams left, they still got the conference playoffs, which is going to be on March 21st for the Eastern Conference and then March 22nd for the Western Conference. And it's been really fun and nice to watch those teams because they're literally the best in the conferences. And after those, you get the Spring Championship. It's going to be a 2-day event from March 30th to March 31st. So it's coming up really fast. I'm going to keep my eye out, and it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait. And the CRL is just stacked. So starting in the East, who are some teams that we should be keeping an eye on?
So I kept track of like the top teams right now. The top two teams in each conference that did really good in the league play. So for the East, I got the Penn State Blue. I think they're such an amazing team this year. They're actually like the best right now. And I think the cool thing about them is they have such an interesting like formation and shooting technique. So one thing about them, they're high scorers. How they like to do it is like they love to maintain the ball at all times by either keeping it close to them or maneuvering it around players on like the wall or when they're in mid air with like aerial moves. And I think the thing that gives them an advantage is not only do they have a space out formation, so they're always passing the ball across the field. So the other team never really has like ball control. And I think the really cool thing what they do is they always remain midfield. So they're never like ever going back on the field unless it's like to protect a goal or to like, block a shot or something. And their defense is so good with the formation. They don't really defend a lot. And they're usually shooting around the corners of the goals. So other teams are just like a mess. It gets like a mess when you start playing with this team because you're like everywhere.
I mean, you love to see that, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just really fun. I think what's crazy about these guys, they like just communicated so well with such a complex formation, and it's amazing. It's amazing how they just able to like kill it. And then you also have the UCF Academy. They got a mean defense. Maybe they don't score as high as Penn State, but their defense is amazing. It's just like this iron wall. And I think how they do it is they use their boost at the same time. So if they're together, they're kind of like clumped together, keeping their lanes closed. What they'll do is a lot of times is they'll use their boost at the same time to attack the ball, to push it forward, while not just score a goal, but also with that defense kicking in and taking that ball away from players. So it's like literally you have like three players coming at you at the same time, and it becomes very overwhelming for these teams.
So, question from the crowd, because I know in Rocket League it's generally very rotation based. If you have all three people boosting towards the ball, how do they have a mean defense? Because wouldn't someone have to cycle back to defend?
No, so that's the crazy thing is what they usually do is when they're okay, so like like one guy will have the ball, two other guys are coming in. What they'll do is they'll be passing the ball at very short distances. So the defense will kick in them because their defense is by keeping the ball close to them. So even though they're playing offense, their defense is like, we're just gonna have the ball with us the whole time at a very short distance. So they're really protecting the ball at the same time.
It's a very aggressive defense. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that.
It's a mean defense. I think it's awesome.
That is really cool. And if memory serves, UCF actually has a member of Team Accelerate, which is a professional Rocket League team. So hopefully we see them make some fancy moves in playoffs. But on the other side of the pond, there are the Western teams. Is there anyone good in the West we should know about?
Oh yeah. Who's not? For me, this was a tough one. For me personally, I love the Western Conference, not because we're just in the West, but a lot of fun teams to watch. But personally, I had to do Boise State Orange and Texas Longhorns. So the Boise State Orange, they're probably the funnest team to watch because they understand that this is a physics-based game. So that's like their greatest advantage. They're amazing because they understand their steering is very precise, very calm and still. And by doing that, they're able to control the ball in such a way that they just have their shots are very precise and they have better control of the ball. Because when you watch other teams, sometimes it gets a little rumble because how you hit the ball at certain angles with the amount of force, it affects how the ball travels. These guys, though, they understand how much force to use against the ball, which angles to come out of, when to turn, what angle. And when they use their jumps, when they do flips and rotations, they become just very deadly. And I think the really cool thing about them is they conserve their boosts. So instead of like using their boosts immediately, what they tend to do is kind of like they limit themselves to aerial moves. So they kind of keep the ball over the field, usually on the walls. And then what they'll do is at last minute, when they creep onto the goal, they'll use the boost. So a lot of times it's kind of like these quiet, quick kills, which is
Calculated. Very cool. Well, very different from UCF, which I like. Now,
Yeah.
how about the Longhorns?
These guys, I wish they're called the Texas Aviators. They're probably like the fun to watch. These guys are like never on the field. They're always flying around. I think it's so fun.
So
Okay.
Ruben, I'm gonna jump ahead and ask a pretty big question that all of us are thinking, and I know you speak really highly of these teams, but how do you think they'll do against the big dogs like Bay State and Northwood?
Oh, those teams are. It's gonna be interesting to see it coming up in these playoffs. I think these teams are so. They really improved their game, especially during league play. They really improved a lot, like their defense, especially in the West. That I think they're going to do good with, Bay State and Northwood because they're really good teams. But these teams I'm talking about, they're like the top right now. They're actually got an advantage over those colleges, so
Snap.
they're going to be just fine.
Dang.
Man, playoffs is going to be great. And yeah, so the World Championship is going to be happening on June 3rd through the 5th. And I cannot wait to see who gets there. But yeah, it's going to be it's just the best esport. I just love Rocket League. It's just the best. But Ruben, this has been so awesome. Thank you much for coming on. And coming up next, we're going to be touching on the HV GamerCon after this. Hello yet again. Your two favorite hosts of the show are still here, and we are here to talk about the HV GamerCon. So the HV GamerCon just took place on March 19th and 20th, and it was a big event. It's happened for a couple years. We've actually talked about it in the past, and it's a big convention / esports tournament across 3 different games. And so the games that were played was Rocket League, Overwatch, and Smash. This was the first time it was in person since Rona. And what they did is that there were also 3 panels, so 3 panels and 3 esports. And what they would do is that they would do the one esport tournament, and then right in the middle they do the panel sandwiched, which I think is genius. And so the three panels that they hit on was how to make a career in video game production, how to be recruited to an how to be recruited as an esports athlete, and how to establish a collegiate esports program. 3 topics that come up often but are worth coming up. And so that was sandwiched in between the tournaments, and also this was all streamed on Twitch. That means for an event, you could watch it, the whole thing. But that's neither here nor there. So starting from the top, Rocket League, Stockton University won, and they beat Wayne State College in the grand finals 3-1. And all 3 of these game tournaments have the same story of generally a sweep, but the other team was alive in every game. And so Wayne State College was alive in every game, and actually in the final game, they did score the first goal. And then it just kind of ended from there because Stockton's Top Cheese, which is a great name, by the way, scored a hat trick, and they closed it out. But Wayne State, they put a lot of phenomenal shots on goal, and Stockton just did these disgusting defends and these disgusting saves and these disgusting scores, excuse me. Coming up next is Overwatch. Overwatch was Bay State. They have really been popping up in Overwatch for the last year or so, and they show their prowess once again, and they beat Boise State, who is no slouch. Boise State has gotten better and better and better over the years. And this situation, it was a 3-0 sweep, but just like the previous school, it was Boise State showed life in every game. And I think what it came down to was ultimate usage. I mean, Bay State, they would have the better dives and they would generally be placed better, but they had a better ultimate economy. I mean, there was one specific point in the third map where Boise State had 5 ultimates. They were going into a fight where Bay State was going to have 3 become live during that fight. And Boise State lost that fight where they used all of their ultimates. And so, I mean, like, they used all their ultimates, and even Faded for Bay State, he got his Winston ult in that fight and then just got a triple kill. And it was just, they consistently get a bigger bang for their buck with their ultimates. And you need to get a bang for your buck with your ultimates because that's your best ability. And so I hope to see more of Boise State in the future. They're always in every tournament and they always go far, but better luck next time. And last but not least, there was Super Smash Brothers, where friend of the show Sonics won. He beat out. Well, he's also from Bay State, so Bay State won 2 of these 3 tournaments, and second place was New Jersey City University Hydra. And same story. I mean, it's a 3-0 sweep, but Sonics was on his last stock every game. He played as Shocker Sonic, and Hydra played as Palutena, however you pronounce that woman's name. And Sonics just did a really great job of controlling the space, which, granted, it shouldn't be that hard to do when you were playing as the fastest character in the video game. But the way that he would dodge abilities and the way that he would edge guard with the spring jump, it was just all very controlled, very good, and he executed at the highest level. So congrats to Sonics. That was an awesome matchup. Now,
Jacob, I only have one question to ask you before you move on, because you're getting me hyped and you're getting everyone else hyped. But I want to ask the big question in the room, besides Sonic being the best character ever all across every platform. At what point are we going to consider Bay State as the next Northwood? Because last segment we talked about how awesome Bay State is, and this segment we're talking about how awesome Bay State is again. So what's the deal behind this?
You know, that is a really great question, especially in Rocketleague, where they are both dominant. But it's interesting how Bay State did not place in the top in Rocketleague here. But yeah, so because with Northwood, they started coming onto headlines. They started making headlines when they were winning in all of the esports. They were just winning Rocketleague. They were winning Overwatch. They were just everywhere all the time. And now Bay State is doing that. Granted, a lot of the tournaments are in smaller scale, but they are always at the top, and they are always present, and they are always performing well. So I think it's going to come down to what they do in the big league tournaments, what they do in the Overwatch Varsity Series, and what they do in College Rocketleague. I think if they win those, where they beat Northwood in the highest floor of the game, I think that's when we can say, hey, Bay State might now be the best school in North America. I mean, Erica, do you have any thoughts on that particular question?
I'm just going to say that Northwood better watch out for Bay State and for other schools who are up and coming. I'm just going to say.
For real.
Get too comfy. Can't get too comfy.
I mean, Northwood lets the players play, but when it comes to Bay State, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm genuinely fascinated to see how these teams perform against one another. But time will only tell. And that was HV GamerCon. So coming up next is going to be our infamous preview review after this. We are back yet again with your review. Say that 3 times really quickly. Jacob Brothers here, Erica Sidora there. And you guys probably won't see this coming, but I'm here to talk about Halo. Halo is just the best, and it's going. Playoff dates have been announced. The playoff dates for College Halo will be April 8th and 9th, and then once again on April 15th and 16th. And right now, the teams to beat are the 11-0 ASU Kinetic, the 12-0 Buckeye Gaming Collective, the 12-0 University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and the 10-0 University of Knoxville. These are the last undefeated teams in their respective divisions. But another division I want to touch on, a couple weeks ago, we talked about Northeast 2, but I want to talk about West 1 because they are stacked. In West 1, the top 3 teams are the 11-1 Utah Valley and the 10-1 Boise State. And then last but not least, the 9-2 ASU Hard Light. We just talked about 2 ASU teams. There are actually 3 ASU teams in this Halo tournament. It's kind of crazy. And they're all doing pretty well. But in West 1, Utah Valley and Boise State have both lost to one another. So the 2 top teams have only dropped a game to that other team. So playoffs are going to be very spicy, and I cannot wait. So again, April 8th and 9th, and then April 15th and 16th. And with the rest of our esports, here's our interns.
Hey everyone, it's Mel, back again with Collegiate Overwatch news. Starting off, the regular season matches for NACE Star League are now complete, and the conference championship play-ins start next week Monday. These teams are playing for their conference championship, and second and third place teams are playing for a playoff spot. The team in first place has secured their playoff spot, and those teams include Bay State, HU Storm, Northwood, Redbirds, USF Gold, Converse Esports, UTD Esports, and UCI Esports. Next, we have the OWCCS in its group stage, with the last of the group stage matches taking place this weekend, March 26th and 27th. The top 2 teams from each of the 8 groups will move on to the playoffs, and some of those teams include HU Storm, Redhawks, KSU Esports, Rutgers Scarlet Squires, Redbirds, Northwood, Maryville, and UCI Esports. As always, make sure you're following on Twitch so you never miss a second of the action, but since these are also about to enter their playoffs phase, these are about to be the best of the best matches of the tournament, so make sure you're not missing out.
Hey everybody, welcome back to your weekly preview review of Valorant. I am Jack Bridges, and yet again we are covering the Battle Academy Winter Saga, but for the final time because this is the championships. So 8 teams competed in a double elimination bracket. The 8 teams that competed were SJSU Blue, UC Davis Gold, TAMU Maroon, UCF Knights, SJSU Gold, UC Illinois Blue, UH Premier, and SJSU Gray. So these are the 8 teams that compete in the championship bracket, so congratulations to all of them for making it this far. We're going to go over some of the final games. So the winners bracket final featured SJSU Blue versus UH Premier, in which SJSU Blue continued their undefeated streak in the bracket and secured their spot in the grand final. The losers bracket featured UH Premier versus the UCF Knights, in which UH Premier secured their rematch against SJSU Blue by winning the losers bracket final. And the grand final obviously featured the rematch between SJSU Blue and UH Premier, arguably 2 of the best teams, obviously 2 of the best teams to make it to the end. And SJSU Blue ended up taking the dub, and history repeated itself in that grand final. So congratulations to SJSU Blue, and congratulations to UH Premier for making it that far. As I said before, good job to all the teams that made it this far, and congratulations to all the teams that participated. It was a lot of fun to keep track of it. So make sure to tune in next week. We will be covering more Valorant content. It just won't be the Battle Academy Winter Saga. So until then.
Hello everyone, my name is Jose, and this is your weekly rundown for CSGO. Let's get to it. Starting off first with NC State versus Kobe Pomona. NC State defeated Kobe Pomona 2-0 with scores of 16-7 and 16-8. Player _Gunny of NC State achieved 7 triple kills in round 2 to help NC State become victorious. Next up is ISU Redbirds versus OSU BGC Scarlet. Scarlet defeated the Redbirds 16-9 in both rounds, and Scarlet player Delango Man achieved 3 triple kills and 1 quadruple kill and 1 pentakill in the second map. Finally, we have UW-Madison versus the IUPUI Jaguars. The Jaguars were gone to thrive in Mirage, winning 16-9 and going on to win 16-11 in Nuke. Jaguars player Big 98 would achieve 2 triple kills and quadra kills each in Nuke. Round 6 was the final round of the NA qualifier tournament. UT Austin came on top with UCF Knights and RIT Orange close behind. The EU tournament qualifier starts this Saturday. This has been it for your weekly rundown of CSGO. My name is Jose, and I'll see you next time.
Hey guys, it's Kevin, and we're going to go over some extra CSGO news. For this, we're going to go over the Faceit Collegiate CSGO North America 2022 standings right now. First up, we have UT Austin going 6-0. In second place, we have the UCF Knights going 5-1. And in third place, we have RIT Orange also going 5-1. In fourth place, we have the IUPUI Jaguars also going 5-1. And in fifth, we have the Ashland Esports once again 5-1. We've seen some great competition so far, and I'm really excited to see what's coming up in the future. But that's all for today.
Thanks for that, guys, and that is our preview review. Up next, we have Proving Grounds. I don't even know
I love that. Hello for the last time this week of Checkpoint on Campus. Your 2 favorite hosts are still here, and we are here to talk about some LCS Proving Grounds. So, Erica, what's the deets?
The deets is every week I get to talk about something that I love, and this week it's LCS Proving Grounds. If you know me personally, I could cry talking about this because it makes me so happy. But if you don't know, the qualifiers, 2 of the qualifiers have just finished, and our new champions for the second qualifier is actually No Freaking Team, which I predicted correctly. So shout out to No Freaking Team, you guys were awesome. And now we are moving into the actual Proving Grounds. If you guys don't know, the LCS Proving Grounds is a tournament meant for amateur, academy, and collegiate teams. There are 20 teams involved, and the North American Academy teams actually get the first invite, so you already have 10 teams there. And the top teams for the qualifiers actually get to move on to the Proving Grounds. So we get to see some amazing gameplay from all rangers, from amateur, academy, and then collegiate teams play together. And this is actually the first time we've had some collegiate top fraggers in the chat, which is really exciting to me and everyone else, because all of these teams are being scouted by the big dogs. So CLG, C9, everyone you think is important is actually watching these games. But if you want to know a more in-depth version of Proving Grounds, you have to know that these academy teams are probably teams you've already heard the names of. So like I said, 100 Thieves Academy, CLG Toss Academy, and the Proving qualifiers mostly consisted of collegiate teams. So as we're moving on to the actual Proving Grounds, we're going to see two stages. We have the play-in stage and the main event stage. And if you're navigating through brackets and you're confused, don't feel bad because they are so hard to read. But you should know that all of these matches are of 3 with double elimination. So the play-in stage will actually feature academy teams like Team Liquid Academy, Taco Gaming, No Freaking Team, Throp, and then the main stage will feature teams like TSM Academy, Maryville, and Wild. So like I said before, you have this whole plethora of different skill levels playing in one setup, and it's a little bit scary for me. I say that a lot because you don't know what to expect from these teams, but we can expect some high-level gameplay from all across the board, just beyond the mechanical level as well, and some smooth communication. One of the analysis interviews actually mentioned how these players have such amazing raw talent, and it's so hard to really minimize them into just players because they're more than players. These are college students who are putting a lot of effort into this really big tournament. So we're going to see a lot of raw talent, a lot of patience, a lot of expansion of playstyles. If you want to check out this amazing tournament that's going on, please check out the LCS on Twitch. It will be happening until April 15th, and you should definitely keep an eye on Winthrop because they are kicking butt.
Awesome. I was about to ask you, you just read my mind. I was going to ask you which team to keep an eye on in this tournament. Do you think Winthrop is the team that's going to be a shock?
I think Winthrop and 100 Thieves and No Freaking Team are probably the best contenders right now. I always have Maryville. We actually talked to Maryville a couple weeks ago. Passes my memory. Time. And they're confident, so I'm not really worried about them. They always do great. They always well, but Winthrop, other collegiate teams as well, really have to put their foot in the door to really impress these amateur teams, to really impress these academy teams, to really impress the scouters that are watching them.
Awesome. And with that, thank you for that, Erica. With that, that is the end of our show. We thank you so much for watching. For more, check out all of our stuff on checkpointxp.com. And remember that we will always and forever love you guys. Have a great week.